How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another video tutorial from Newy Webs. Today we're going to create a page background image, a header, a body and a footer. We're going to export them into Adobe Dreamweaver from Adobe Fireworks, insert them into a CSS file, and then we're going to throw them in as background pictures with expanding body so we can fit all our content. Now we start off in Adobe Fireworks. You want to draw your body layout, so I've just drawn a basic little rectangle shape here. Before we go any further, you want to get your fit canvas. It's beautiful, nice and snug, exactly how we want it. Go to canvas size so we can get a header made up, anchor it from the top. Now you only want to cover from the top just past this little rectangle roundness part here, so I reckon about 30 pixels might just get past that. Yep, that's perfect. Okay, so now we want to optimize the image, so we get a transparent background and also a smaller file. So go to export wizard, just get rid of all that, 3 clicks of enter, or you can, however you want to do it. Go up here to PNG32 so you can save the transparency and go to export. Another thing I'll tell you what just before I go any further, which I will be explaining in another video tutorial, is up here where my mouse button is, it tells you how fast or slow it's going to take to load up on a web page on the internet. So at 56 kilobytes per second, which is dial-up speed, it'll take 0 seconds. So most people who've got broadband, ADSL, ADSL2 plus in Australia, they're going to be fine. Loaded before they blink their eye. Anyway, so now we're going to export it to the folder we want, which mine, I'm just doing it in a subdomain on my company website. So we'll just go to images. Actually, that's the wrong folder. We'll go to members, images, temp pics, and I've already done it. So there's my top, my bottom, so my header, my footer, my body, and you click save. Make sure it's images only. Okay. Now you want to do that for a footer, so you want to make sure nothing moves. So just click on the image and hold your up arrow to drag it right up until you're ready for it to stop. Just wait for it to drag up, and then we'll continue. Beautiful. Now I've got to leave it there because I've got a 1 pixel white borderline going around my image. But if you didn't, you'd want to make it even snug to the exact point of where your image finishes. And again, the same process one last time for you is export wizard, continue, exit. Now you want to make sure it's a PNG because we got transparency. Again, it's 0 seconds, and export, and you can take it to the folder you want and click save. Now when you're doing your body, just scroll it down until you got nice straight curves. Get a canvas size, anchor it from the top, and I recommend you go 15 pixels in height. You don't touch the width, just height. That there, right? Yeah, and that there will now turn into your page body. Believe it or not, whether it's 1,000 pixels high, 2,000 pixels high, 500 pixels high, doesn't matter. This one 15 pixel strip here will turn into everything you want. Again, you export that with the export wizard in under file, continue, exit, and again PNG 32. So actually we don't need transparency, so you want to get a smaller file, which it doesn't really matter when you're dealing with such a tiny little picture, but when you get into bigger pictures you should always look at your GIFs for an extremely small file, but that's mainly only good for an image exactly like this where it's only got the 1 solid color or 2 or 3 solid colors. If it's got a gradient or a radiant or all those other kind of stuff, you'll actually get lines and you won't get a nice little beautiful gradient picture. You'll have a real tiny lines that'll look quite ugly. JPEG is great quality, but it's a really large file when you turn it into a bigger picture, which I'm sure we'll deal with in another video tutorial. And PNG32 is the largest file you can probably save, but it's great for saving your transparency. Okay, now we've saved our body, we've saved our footer, and we've saved our header. Now we can go over to Adobe Dreamweaver. Now I've already got a CSS file up. but we'll start from scratch. We want to go to new, and you want to go to CSS. Okay, that's all fine, stay there, get rid of that number 4. Okay, and now we want to throw in our header. So I'll just go over here to do mine because I want it to actually be on mine. I've already pre-made it here. Okay, so as always, I start off a CSS file and give it the little bracket. Oop, no you don't. You close off. I'm thinking something else here. Closing bracket, enter down. You want to give it a pound because we want it to be a class, and a class is a pound. And you want to give it a name, so this would be header space, and you want to give it the curly bracket, and we want to call it a background image. Find your picture, and here's mine now. So we go to top. Now you want to remember the sizes: 950 wide, 30 pixels high. So click that in, close it off, go down. Now you want a width, type in width, and it'll find it, press enter, and you want to type in 950 pixels wide, because that's what ours is, and a height, it was 30, so 30 pixels high. Boom. Now close it off with a curly bracket, down to another one. Now we want to put our body in. This is where it gets different. We do a pound symbol for a class. Now we'll name it body so we know what it is. Now you want to do the curly bracket, facing towards the right, sorry. Background image. Now you find your body picture. Again, remember your sizes. I've got them written in front of me what they are, but so we'll close this one off. And now you want to do a width only with the body. You don't want to give it a set height because you want to keep repeating as we put content onto the page. So it's just width. Okay, page width. And the width is 950 pixels. Close it. And then we want to close it off with a curly bracket facing towards the left. And another pound symbol because now we've got to do our footer. And pound again is a class. Okay, so pound, we want to call this footer. Curly bracket, background image. And grab your footer, which I've, for some unknown reason, called mine bottom. Anyway, close it off. We want to give it a width of 950 pixels and a height of 30 pixels again. Close it off. Now, we have just created our header, our body, and our footer in a CSS file. Excuse me. Okay, so we got our image URL, we've got our width, and we've got our height for all the footer, body, header. And we want to save that onto our CSS file. Make sure you save it. You can either save it into your own over to the right here. You can save it into a CSS folder, which is great for organising all your folders, especially if you've got such a large website like this one. He's getting a bit big now. Wherever you want to save it, it's up to you. Now, we'll come over to our web page. I'll just create a new one. HTML is great for a tutorial. Doesn't matter. You can actually save it as a HTML file or a PHP file. It doesn't really matter. HTML. However, when you're editing, I always use HTML when I do a mock-up, because as I place content on, I'll quickly just save it as tester.html. As I'm designing, I can now test it in a preview browser. But if it was a PHP, unless you had a WAMP server, you would not be able to preview it, like I said, unless you want to run it through a WAMP, but I don't. Okay, anyway, code. So everything's fine. Body. Now your content goes inside this area here in your body. Okay, and all this is just stuff you don't need to know about, but we want to bring in our CSS style sheets. So we want to go down. Now, the easiest way, and this is the way I'm going to teach you, because it is the easiest way. It's not the only way, but it's the easiest way to bring in a CSS file sheet, is to go up to your tabs up the top here and click on this little hyperlink button here, attach style sheet. Now mine is the members.css, but just to show you, you always find it. You say mine's in members and members cascade style sheet. Boom. Okay, so now I have my style sheet in place. So now I can create a table. I'm going to teach in tables. I know a lot of people out there are going to whinge and whine at me for doing it in tables, but for the sake of this video tutorial and for the 10-minute time limit I have on YouTube, I just couldn't be bothered getting into div tags. Rightio, 950 pixels wide. Okay, we'll center that in the page. Center. Now click inside it so you can easily reference it. It's great when you have a lot of code in here. You go up to the top of your table. Now your table is here. Okay, so go right here, space, and you want to give it an ID of header. Now go back to design view and look at that. That's our header picture. So now we want to throw in our body. Another one, 950 pixels wide, because that is how wide our images are. If you go any wider, they actually start doubling on themselves. So instead of just having one nice, neat, tidy little image here, we'd have it repeating over this side as well, and we don't want that. It looks ugly. Okay, 950 center. Okay. Now inside here, you can, in where it says table width, space, and you give it an ID of a body. Now, there you go. We've got our body. Don't worry about that. That's just what Dreamweaver does. If we push F12 and preview it, it'll still be nice and tidy. See? For some unknown reason, Dreamweaver always just, well, most of the time anyway, gives you off-center pictures, which makes it a bit of a nuisance. So, again, that is centered. Okay, now we want to give it our footer. So, one last table, throw it in there, give it an ID in the table section, just here. An ID of footer. And that is it. You have now created, exported, and implemented your page body in Adobe Fireworks and Adobe Dreamweaver. Now, as you know, it probably looks a bit tiny, but never fear. What we do now is, I'll show you. We throw some content in there and we can push enter and see. Thank you for watching this video tutorial from NewyWebs. Don't forget to go to www.newywebs.com to check out my website. It's full of free vectors, free software, tutorials, and I've even just implemented a forum. And you can also check out my freelance web design and logo design service. Prices are extremely low, perfect for the small business owner. Thank you.